Because when you write those things down, I think this will really sum it up for you guys, is that it gives you focus on what you want for the year, which allows you to say no to other things that show up in your life. Because a lot of times, when you don't write these things down, you've got so many different things that are going on in your head that people will come to you with their ideas, their dreams, their visions. And then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. And then you start doing that. Oh, I like that. That's cool too. And then you're all over the map.
Welcome to Real Talk with Gary. If you are listening to this show, that means you are either searching or ready to make a financial change in your life. This show is not only about real estate investing, but also the importance of mindset and the roadmap to a better, healthier life. Learn the daily routines of successful entrepreneurs and the latest market strategies and trends to stay ahead of the curve. Ready for some down-to-earth, north of the border Canadian talk? Here's your host, Gary Hibbert.
All right, guys, welcome back. And today I wanted to do a podcast. Actually, I need a little filler here because getting close to the end of all the shows that I've recorded or pre-recorded. And so I thought I would do one where it's just myself talking about something that really made a huge difference in the beginning of my investing career and really just kind of going down this entrepreneur path that I'm on. It's something that we also teach, Darlene and I teach in our mentorship class as well too. And I think this is an important aspect for anybody that is looking to understand how goal setting works. And so this is something I learned from Jim Rohn in the beginning, really helped me to kind of look at my life and then really carve it out the way that I wanted it to go. All right. So here's how it goes. All right. And it's probably going to take, maybe about, 10, 15 minutes to go through. Today's show is brought to you by McMurder and Associates. McMurder and Associates is a real estate and estate law firm who can be your legal partner for every major event in your life. If you are planning your estate, selling or buying a home or an investment property, they can definitely help. With over 30 years of experience, the firm's objective is to prevent you from worrying about the legal aspects of your transaction. From the beginning, McMurder and Associates will provide you with straightforward legal advice and a no surprises policy where you won't be hit with a legal bill you did not expect. The very first thing that you want to do, especially when it comes to goal setting, is you want to make a list. Now, you can either make a list of 100 things that you want. You probably will have a very difficult time with 100. I'll tell you that right now. So let's start you off with a smaller list. Let's do 50. So 50 things that you want to achieve in the next 10 years of your life. Now, very important, not what you think you can get, okay, but what you want if everything was to fall in place, okay? Now, after you make that list, what you want to do next is you want to put a number beside each goal. All right, so you've written your list of 50, then you're going to put a 1, you're going to put a 3, you're going to put a 5, or you're going to put a 10 beside each one of these goals. Now, what these numbers represent are the years that you believe that you can achieve each of these goals. Okay? Now, once you've done that, you are then going to put all these goals that have a 1 beside it on your whiteboard. So very important. Go get yourself a whiteboard, go to Staples, wherever it may be. And anything that you put a 1 beside, those are going to go on your whiteboard. Everything else, you're going to file that away. All right. And I think this is where a lot of people in the beginning make mistakes with vision boards. Look, I'm not against vision boards by any means. However, what I found that works the best is just focusing on your goals for 1 year. Because when you start looking at your 5-year goals or your 10-year goals, it becomes too daunting. And so what you're trying to do is just focus on those 1-year goals so that it could be just as simple as very small for that 1 year. It could be something maybe a little bit more challenging, but only focus on the things that you think you can achieve in that first year. Okay. Now, when you do that, Okay. When you write them on your whiteboard, make sure that they are SMART goals. So specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time, right? And that's how we actually came up with the name of our company, which is Smart Home Choice. So I don't know if anybody knows that. Maybe some of you have. Well, a few of you definitely would, who have gone through our mentorship program, and some of you have been with Smart Home Choice for a while would have probably heard that we've talked about that. But that's exactly how we came with it. Because for us, what we realized was that SMART goals was way more important, that it wasn't just only about real estate investing. It was about what we wanted in our lives. And I can also tell you this as well too, is that when we started doing this, and our kids were young at the time, they also then started writing things down on our whiteboard, or they would also get something like their own little small whiteboard as well too, or a piece of paper, whatever it was at the time, and just started writing things down. I remember my daughter had written down, stop biting her nails, and she stopped biting her nails. Now, whether or not it had to do with anything with her putting it on the whiteboard, to her, she believed that there was something powerful about writing things down, and there really and truly is. Okay. So kind of going back to this now. So here's an example. When I talk about like a SMART goal, you want to make sure, again, going back to it, that it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant time. So purchase 2 student rental investment properties under $500K in Peterborough by December, right? So that's specific. You can actually measure that. Is it achievable, right? Because here's something, you don't want to put down that you want to be a millionaire, because that's not going to be achievable, right, in 1 year. Is it relevant to what you want in life? And then when do you plan on achieving that, right? December, okay? Now, here's what you also want to do is that when you achieve some of these goals, actually when you achieve any of these goals, that's really important, that are significant, take time to celebrate, okay? Now, out of your 1 year goals, mark the 4 that are the most important, right? So you can put an asterisk beside it or whatever you want to do. Next, what you're going to do is write down why those 4 goals are important to you. Okay? So let's go back to those properties that we just talked about. Why are those properties important to you? Well, for me at the time when we purchased the first 2 properties that we purchased, it was for our kids' education. So we put those properties down because we knew that we were going to have a difficult time saving for our kids' education. So we wrote down, why do we want it? For kids' education. And here's why it's important to do that. Because when the why gets stronger, the how gets easier. Okay? And so sometimes it might actually take you, 2 or 3 times to answer why, to actually get to the actual root of it, if that makes sense. So just keep asking, but why, right? Well, I want some cash flow, but why? So that I can get closer to leaving my full-time job, but why? So that I can have time freedom. Oh, okay, so it's about time freedom. So you keep asking that same question over until you really you can't break it down any further, and now you know why you want that investment property, or whatever the goal is that you've written down, okay? The next question is, well, what is it for? And what's the purpose of this goal? Because here's the one thing that I also learned as well too, is that purpose is stronger than object. So it's not just about the property itself or whatever that goal is. Sometimes it could be why. Why do you want it? And it's that purpose. So I just talked about that, right? And some of your goals that you put down on there should also be personal developments, like the person that you want to become, right? It's not only just materialistic, it should also be, who do you want to become? And that was some of the things that I did in the beginning as well too. And it's not what you get that makes you valuable. I want you guys to remember that. Not what you get that makes you valuable. It's what you become. Okay? Because here's why it's also important as well too, right? Because you're going to ask yourself, what type of person must I become to achieve all that I want. All right. Now that we've done that, here's what you're going to do now. So, and I like doing this. Darlene and I like doing this at the beginning of the year. So we usually sit down like right after Christmas, whether it be late December, early Jan, is in July. We'll take a look at what we've written down on our whiteboard. And so this is at the 6-month mark. And then we will put a check mark beside the ones that we've accomplished. And the other thing as well, too, is, at the beginning of the year, we actually we're getting better now over the years, but we actually used to fight about what we were going to actually put down on the whiteboard. But what it also did was it allowed us to make sure that we were also on the right path and had the right, or not the right, but the same vision of what we wanted in our lives. All right. So really important to sit down with your spouse and dream together. All right. So at the 6-month mark, what you're going to do is you're going to put a check mark beside each of the ones you've accomplished. And if there are any goals on there that are no longer aligned with you, remove them. Right? It's okay to do that, because here's why it's okay to do that. This is what you call your mid-course correction. Right? So it's no different than if you were to set up to sail from the east coast of Canada to England. Well, before you get there, or at least the halfway point, if you haven't recalibrated your steering, because you're going to encounter waves, you're going to encounter probably some storms, you're going to encounter some winds, and so you want to make sure that you're still on course, number one, and then also you want to make sure that you're still moving in the right direction, because it's okay to kind of make some mid-course corrections. So that's typically what we will do. All right. And then what you do is, if you have to take a couple of them off, add a few more on to your main list, and then continue on for the rest of the year. Now, what I also like to do is before I do all that, I like to take a picture of it. So I'll take a picture of what's on my whiteboard. And then I'll file that away. Okay. And then at the end of the year, what I'll do is I'll also put a check mark beside all the goals that I've accomplished. And then I'll take another picture and I'll file that away. Here's what you do. This is really important. Never throw out your goals, right? So just file them away. Here's why. And I can tell you this and I've been doing this now, we've been doing this for like 12 years. Okay. Consistently, is we've gone back and we've taken a look at the lists, or what was on a whiteboard. And this is no lie, and we would go back and we're like, wow, this is accomplished. Look at this. We said we wanted a cottage and we got it. And some of the things I actually forgot that we actually wrote on there, which is wild. And it's important to kind of go back and take a look at it. And I don't know how it works, but I do know it has something to do with writing it down and thinking about what it is that you want to achieve. Because when you do that, it just gets you closer to your goal. There's something powerful about it. I know that, I'll share this with you as well too. Like, so for doing what we've done for as long as we have and working with a lot of investors, 3 or 4 years might go by, and in the beginning of their investing journey, they purchased 2 or 3 properties, and then 4 years goes by and they're like, Gary, I don't know, we're just having a real difficult time with, getting things going, or we're still stuck at our 3 properties. And I'm like, okay, no problem. Let's jump in a quick call and let's kind of talk about it. And we'll jump in a call. Here's the very first thing I'll ask them. So what's on your whiteboard? And they're like, oh, yeah, we don't do the whole whiteboard thing anymore. I'm like, there you go. Like, write it down, put it down. What's your vision? What is it that you guys want to achieve? And look, I know it's not just as simple as, well, I wrote it down and things aren't working. Then after that, of course, there's hard work. There's action that you've got to take. But what is doing? Here's why this is important. Okay? Because when you write those things down, this will really sum it up for you guys, is that it gives you focus on what you want for the year, which allows you to say no to other things that show up in your life. Because a lot of times, when you don't write these things down, you've got so many different things that are going on in your head that people will come to you with their ideas, their dreams, their visions, And then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. And then you start doing that. Oh, I like that. That's cool too. And then you're all over the map. But if you can stay focused on what you said that you were going to do for the year, then when those new things come in, you can say, no, you know what? I like that idea. However, maybe I'll revisit it next year. Or you can say, you know what? I do like that idea. Let's dig a little deeper into it. Let me do a mid-course correction, write it down on my whiteboard, and then focus on that, and then maybe take something else off. That is why it's important. It's important to also say no to things that you don't want, but also give you clarity on what you do want. All right? And at the end of the year, all you're going to do, wipe that whiteboard off, clean it up, start all over again. All right? And the more you achieve, the more you become, and the more you become, the more you achieve. And that is how you do goal setting. All right? Real high level, we do dig a little bit deeper into it because then there's another piece to it when you start now going into your agenda, you go into your calendar, because then that ties everything together. And how do you do that? Well, we talk more about that in our mentorship program, right? But I wanted to at least share that with you to give everybody that's listening to this to at least a good start, on how do you get focused? How do you do goal setting? Because I'm sure a lot of you have heard it, and you're just like, man, what's the best way to do it? That is the best way that I've found to do it. I'm sure there's probably other ways of doing it, but I learned that from one of my early mentors that I talk about all the time, Jim Rohn, and I've stuck with it, and it works. It's really look. It helped me quit my full-time job in 4 short years. So I attribute it to goal setting. So hope that helps. And I hope you guys like this small little segment. And I know it's short, but you know what? Short and sweet is sometimes good. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will talk to you guys next week. And look, and if you also want me to do more of these small podcasts of 15, 20 minutes of things that I've learned over the years, whether it be screening tenants or how to grow your portfolio or how to raise capital or whatever it may be, I don't mind sharing that. And if it helps you guys, I'll do it again. All right. So hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Take care. Do you know what blockchain is? How about the difference between Bitcoin and crypto? After 15 years of explosive growth across the globe, it's important not to get left behind. We are currently in the mid-90s of the internet when it comes to adoption. Want to learn more? Make sure to reach out to onebitcoin.ca broker today. Whether you have basic security questions or you need help buying Bitcoin in a safe and convenient way, onebitcoin.ca is here for you. Get started today with Canada's Bitcoin partner, onebitcoin.ca.
Thanks for listening to today's show with Gary Hibbert. Please don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and connect with your host on Instagram @GaryHibbert. Until next time, stay mindful and remember, you don't have to be great to start. Just start, and you'll be on the path to being great.